Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got this question sort of email. It's a little bit long, but I think I'm going to read it because it's got a lot of good details in here, and I think a lot of you probably struggle with some of the similar problems as Carol does here in this email. And it's about too much tasks, being overwhelmed with things. It's so easy to get overwhelmed. He says, "Dear John, I have a little question for you. I like your channel so much. Your advice is, I also watch the video, How I Plan My Week. So I've got that video on how I plan my week. But I'll be glad if you can help me more personally. I mean, I want to use Kanban, Flow, and Pomodoro technique like you, but I am a student. I have a lot of hobbies, courses, and I need to learn a lot of things. I want to be a programmer and entrepreneur, so I recently started learning about programming, and I plan to learn about investing in real estate and about entrepreneurship and all. Your videos are a great source of wisdom and motivation, but I have a problem with time. How do you plan your week, your time? You look like you're not tired and annoyed. You're busy, you have a lot of things to do. You have a family, wife, businesses, meetings, your blog. You need to learn new things. How do you do that? I feel really tired, bad, annoyed after a little time. I'll be more specific. I'm a student. I'm 20 years old. I have a lot of hobbies. I took online courses for programming, so I need to watch them and practice. I bought a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which you can check out here. I highly recommend that. So I want to read this book. I have more than one book. I'm planning to take your course about marketing yourself, developer marketing. You can check that out here. And 10 Steps to Learn Anything Quickly. That's my other course. You can check that one out here. I have a girlfriend. I do not want to neglect my girlfriend. I also have a friend who is very helpful to me with programming. I have to spend my time with him. I have a lot of things. I also want to educate myself to become a better person. I want to have better English skills and mathematics also. I have a lot of things, but as you probably know, the courses take a lot of time. Practicing programming too, especially bugs, and the day is all gone, but there are other tasks which I need to do. I need to spend my time with family, friend, girlfriend. I'm so overwhelmed. Could you help me, please?" Let's talk about this. There's a few things here. First of all, this is normal. It's normal to feel overwhelmed like this. There's actually a pretty good book that I read that I sort of started basing some of my techniques for time management on. This was sort of my first introduction to this. It's called Getting Things Done by David Allen. You can check that out. And I don't follow that process, right? You can see my process on how I plan my week. I linked to that video a second ago, or at the beginning of this video. But I started there, and there's still a part of that, which is this idea of some of the concepts in here, even if you don't follow that exact process, or this idea of taking everything out of your head, getting it on paper to a system that you trust, right, your inbox, and processing all that, and then scheduling it and getting projects and just knowing what's out there so that it's all captured, because you got all this stuff in your head, all these things you want to do, all these ambitions you have, and it's great. So you want to do that just to clear up your head. It'll help you get rid of the overwhelm. To be honest with you, I still feel the overwhelm. There's still a ton of things that I need to do. I've got boards, Trello boards and Kanban boards full of tasks and things that I need to do that I want to do. But I've got them organized in a place where I can prioritize them, and I can look at them, and I know that I'm not going to get to all those things. What I'm always going to do, though, is I'm going to cherry pick the things that are important. And that's the key, is really, it's prioritization, right? You're not going to ever do all the things you want to do in life. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to have enough time to do that. So there's a couple of different strategies that you should employ in order to be able to maximize, right? You want to be effective as possible. You want to maximize, and you want to go in the direction that you want to go. So the first thing is this. First of all, in order to be more effective, to be able to get more things done, you need to have more time. So in order to have more time, you need to reduce waste of time, right? I did this blog post a while back on how you're wasting your time. Take a look at that. That's a good place to look at time management stuff. I also, if you haven't already bought my soft skills book, you can check that out, and I've got some time management, productivity. I've got a whole section on productivity there. But basically, you got to figure out how you're wasting your time and stop. For those of you that are watching TV or watching sports, stop. It's not helping you in your life in any way, especially if you're trying to achieve goals. If you don't care and you just want to enjoy your life and you don't have ambitions to achieve these goals and stuff, then fine, I don't care. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, or if you do it from time to time. But if watching TV or watching sports is a habitual part of your life, you're wasting a lot of time. Again, you don't have to listen to me, you don't have to do it, but hey, if you're looking for solutions, if you're looking for ways to be able to get done all the stuff you want to do and you don't want to be overwhelmed, get rid of that shit. You don't need it, okay? Get rid of the kind of stuff that is wasting your time. If you're playing some kind of MMO or some kind of stupid thing like that, and I say that being someone who did that before, okay, more than once, you might want to like really cut back the time on that or stop altogether, because that's not going to help you either. So the first thing is to reduce the amount of time that you waste. And this could be even something as stupid as like if you're commuting too far, right? Look at your day and look at and find where is the time being spent? Where is it being wasted? Where could you take that time? Because the more time you have, the more you'll have to work with. The next thing to realize is that you can only really focus on a couple things at a time, right? I always have one major goal, one major task, and then two minor projects at the most. And so pick what your major one is. The major one is you do it every day. You make progress on it every day, and you never stop. Okay. The minor ones, those ones can be sacrificed if you need to. And so you want to read these books. You want to so I've got processes in place, right? So I'm always, and part of it becomes your routine. So if you think about it, right, I read 72 books this year, in 2016. I've got the video to prove it here. How did I do that? Well, it's because it's all built into my routine, because I'm running like 4 times a week. I run about 40 miles, 50 miles a week. And while I'm running, I'm listening to audiobooks on 3x speed. Now, I've got a system, I've got a list on Amazon of all the books that I want to read, and I've got them prioritized. I could probably do a better job of prioritizing it. And I make sure that I always have those audio books ready for me. If you don't have Audible already, go ahead and subscribe. It will make you more productive, I promise you, because you can multitask with that. So I've got a system in place of getting book recommendations, so that I've always got that queue filled up, so I don't have to waste time there. I've got a system in place of, especially when someone recommends me a book, I know what to do. I've got a system in place of making sure that I can read those books on a regularly scheduled basis, and so I'm getting through that. So it's kind of automated, right? In my mind, it just happens automatically, right, while I'm running. I've got a system for working out, so I'm running, right? So all that stuff, that kind of stuff is progressing automatically without me having to do anything. Now, I pick a big project and I work on that big project, and I set aside some time every day to work on that. So that moves that thing forward, right? And so I end up incorporating a lot of different things into my life, like I'm doing these YouTube videos, right? So I do these every day. I do about 2 videos a day. Now, I might change this up and start batching them up and doing them all at one time during the day. Do a bunch of one day of the week, or something similar to that. But I've got a process in place. So I did this video on processes, which is really important as well. So what it comes down to is this, is you figure out what is your time that you have. How can you maximize that time? By getting rid of the waste. Then you figure out what is your priorities. What are you going to focus on in the short term? Okay, and you set those as priorities, and you gotta leave the rest behind. You gotta cherry pick and pick the best things. Don't just pick stuff in order. Pick the best stuff. What's the most effective thing? What's the most important thing? And that's themed together. That's going to move you forward to the direction you want to go. In order to do that, you need to know clearly you can't go in 5 different directions. You got to pick one direction and pick a focus. And you can change directions later in your life, but pick a focus for a period of time and go down that road. Don't try to do too many things. And then get this stuff built into your routine. There's certain stuff that you want to do all the time that you want to keep maintaining. You got to get that built into your routine. It takes some time. You got to build processes around it. And so there's a lot of areas in my life that I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly making progress in, but it doesn't feel like I'm putting in a lot of effort because I don't have cognitive effort, because I set up systems, I set up processes to ensure my success, and then I start executing and following those things, right? Simple Programmer is going to grow. The YouTube channel is going to grow. I'm going to get a lot of books read. I'm going to stay in shape. I'm going to continue to get in better shape because I have these processes and systems in place, which allow me to get all of this stuff done that's sort of in the background, right? While I focus, I don't have to, that stuff doesn't take my focus. It took my focus to set these things up. Initially, there was a lot of a hit in getting these projects set up. And I've got tons of systems in place that, I could talk about for hours for all the systems, from video, even within Simple Programmer. I think I'm not sure if I did a video, but how these videos get made and the process, and how blogs get made, and how the podcast gets made. All these processes and systems in place so that they're essentially automated, so I don't have to think about those. It took effort to do that. Those were projects at some point, and then that frees me up so that I can set my focus. Like, you know, I just did a video on how I completed my second book. I just wrote this 180,000 word book. I'm going to be publishing that pretty soon, and that was a big project, and that was my project, and I set my focus on that thing. And when I go to publish that book and I'm going to actually launch that book, I'm going to be setting my focus on that. So I'm able to pick these projects and nail these and give them my all because I've done that. And so that's really the thing here is you got to have a system, you got to have it in place. Don't expect to get it all done. You're never going to get it all done, but that's okay. It's good that you have a lot of stuff. Like I said, I've got tons of ideas, and every once in a while I'll comb through those ideas and pick the ones out. But you just have to know that you can't maximize, you can't do it all. You can't. You have to. It's a matter of saying no. Yeah, especially as you get more busy and you become more successful, you're going to have to say no to things. So, you know, figure out some of the things in your life, to get a little bit specific here, like spending time with your girlfriend or your friend, you know, and maybe doing your studying or making advances in programming. Can you systemize those things, devote a certain amount of time each day or each week to those things, right? I don't mean to like systemize relationships, but to some degree, yes, planning that time. Can you get most of that stuff so that you're not worrying about it? Because as soon as you have a system and process in place, as soon as it's part of your routine, or you've got a schedule, you've got that handled, even if you've got it on paper and you know the steps you're going to do, it stops overwhelming you because you've got it taken care of. And again, I'll recommend that book, Getting Things Done, because it talks about that, even if you don't follow that process. But the idea is getting things into paper, into a system, into a process that you trust, and that will prevent the overwhelm, because it's really easy to be overwhelmed. I'm telling you, and I still feel it from time to time. But as I develop these systems and I'm confident in those systems, that overwhelm disappears. I hope that's helpful to you, Karel. I appreciate this question. It's one that a lot of people struggle with. If you found this video useful, if you want some more tips on how to live a more better, productive life as a software developer, or even if it's not a software developer, click that subscribe button below. I do about 2 to 3 videos a day. You don't have to watch them all. But if you do want to, and you want to be a super subscriber, click the bell button. You'll get a notification every time that I make a new video. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.